If it is, Vickers is screwed.
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Friday Night Magic tournament from Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. It's been a 2-week hiatus, as 2 weeks ago we were down at Grand Prix Richmond, and last week I rage quit Magic for the weekend. But this week we are back streaming more standard action from here at the store. Already into our round 1 feature match. On the left we've got Vinnie Lucente. You may remember him from previous, he was here once before. Vinnie's from Columbus, has some family in the area, watches the stream, and decided to come visit and play. He's also in town visiting family this weekend, so decided to stop in. And he's playing Naya Midrange. We're not sure exactly what his deck consists of in its entirety, but you will find out as we do. And his opponent, the local legend Adam Vickers, who's playing at mono black control, and he you see he's playing a Watery Grave. He made it a point to tell me the blue splash is for Notion Thief out of the sideboard, so he's very...
That's how the Japanese do it.
Yes, he did say that that's how the Japanese tech is using it, so channeling his Asian heritage. Is this Naya aggro, would you call it?
Just Naya Midrange is fine. Because I don't think it's the Brave deck. I don't think Brad Nelson had it.
Brave the Elements?
Yeah. Well, the Brave deck is just all Brave the Elements.
And we see a Bile-Blight taken out of Brimaz there.
Well, it's just going to prevent the damage. It's not actually going to kill the Brimaz.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Adam was attacking. So that seems like that's a mistake there, right? Adam just forgot how the interaction works. Because by doing that, he loses his pack rat because the token still comes in blocking. I think that's just a slight mix-em up.
Still gets your Brimaz off the table. I mean, it's not the hardest card for mono black to deal with, but if Adam's hand does removal light, it's definitely a card that he has to kill.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep thinking Brimaz is a 3/3 for some reason, but it's a 3/4, so obviously he needed to bait that block so that he could finish it off. Makes sense. It's almost like he thought that through before he made that decision.
Well, still, I mean, he gets killed by the token, but...
Yep. In keeping with the cat theme, here's a Johnny Caller of the Pride.
Cat on cat action.
It's going to tick it up, put a counter on the Brimaz token. Adam has not had a lot of business here. This the mono black deck does convert into a control deck most of the time, but it does have its ability to go aggro if it needs to. But this is clearly a case where he is the reactive deck.
Well, it looks like we have a removal spell for the Johnny. Nope, Honorable Connections. Okay. The problem with the mono black deck sometimes is it doesn't have a lot of velocity to get to turns 4 and 5. Like if it doesn't have the velocities and if it doesn't keep its pack right around, then it's a very slow deck out of the gates. But this Underworld Connection should help make up for that.
So Underworld Connections, not only does it add to the devotion, which the deck will obviously use later as it casts its Grey Merchants, but a huge source of card advantage, which is specifically useful in the control matchups.
He's also under a potential surprising amount of damage here, as Vinnie could easily be representing upwards of 12 damage with a double strike Gorklane Rampager on his cat token.
Yes. His Vigilant 2/2 cat token there.
Yes, Vigilante.
It's fairly warm outside, so much so that when I got out of my car to come in here at 4 o'clock, I thought maybe I should leave my jacket in my car. It's a little bit too warm. I'm glad I did not, because it is a meat locker in the broom closet this week. So Adam nets a card off his Underworld Connections, then just passes the turn back.
And he could be dead.
End of turn is an Advent Worm. Advent of the Worm, I should say. And yeah, well, I'm assuming Vinny's playing Boros Charms, Gore Clan Rampagers. He does have the ability to give one of his creatures flying and double strike. So just as the board states, if he minuses a Johnny, that's 13 damage as it is. Adam only at 15.
And this is definitely not a game where you can go for Johnny's Ultimate, as Hero's Downfall would easily just disrupt that plan.
Yeah, and it is.
It'd also be bad against Bob White.
Yeah, it's also, yes, it is also interesting here that Adam obviously doesn't have a Hero's Downfall, or he would have taken care of the Ajani in the previous turns. But Vinny not short on action here. Casts a Stormbreath Dragon, minuses Ajani on the worm token. Adam's going to draw a card and then die, I think. What's he need here? He needs 2 Doomblades?
Well, here's Downfall and worm token.
Yeah. So that would be 7 total, dropping Adam down to 7. If he had just 2 cards in hand, there's a point at which the Naya deck is going to run out of resources. But
right.
Adam drawing a lot of lands here, dead on board in a variety of ways. He's almost dead just to Monstrosity on the. This is not where we want to be.
I was going to say, if this was a Spectre, it would be in decent shape.
Yeah.
We could at least block something and force some action out of Vinny. But
so Adam adds another Underworld Connections, leaving 3 mana up, so he's not dead here. He does have a lot of targeted removal that can answer that dragon.
Yeah, this is the problem. Whenever your opponent has a Stormbreath Dragon, they always have 2. That's the rule of Magic.
The dragon doesn't fool around. It breathes lightning, so of course it's got to be pretty good, right?
He can't target that.
Yeah.
It's for a white. Hey, Vinny.
Oh, yeah. Does it have to hit another card?
It's FNM, so you can sort it out with Adam.
Well, in the meantime, Vickers can play his cards.
Unavailable, so we're thinking maybe Morgantown for the sealed states.
Can we have it at my house?
Where do you live?
Charleston. Just over here.
Can you seat up to 250 people?
Yes.
Probably not. Well, if it's
To be quite honest, maybe not even literally. I don't think you could actually do it. Even uncomfortably might be a problem.
We thought about having it right here, but since there hasn't been a sealed states in so long, we were like, well, we might end up with 200 people showing up for something like that. And if we do it in Morgantown, it's a pretty nice gesture since we always have them all the way down here.
Yes, well, all the way down here is the geographical center of the state and the largest city in the state, with 3 major interstates that drive through it within an hour of all the stores in the state, other than Four Horsemen. But
I agree.
But I do understand what you're saying. They hopefully, if they don't have to drive more than 10 minutes to one of them, they'll be content to drive 2 hours to the other one. So.
Right.
But picking back up here with the game, we've got a turn 3 Lifebane Zombie out of Vickers. He's got choices here of Brimaz and Loxodon Smiter, it looks like. The key interaction here is that the exile from Lifebane Zombie would get around the Loxodon Smiter's discard ability there.
Right.
You're also showing an Advent of the Worm, a Mizium Mortars, a Chain to the
More
Rocks.
importantly, a Chain to the Rocks, because Vickers hasn't played any action up until here, which probably means he has Desecration Demons, which Chain to the Rocks is best against.
Yes, and Adam has no way of getting rid of a chain after its made its appearance. So now the choice Vinny has, I guess, here is if he's going to... He could chain the Lifebane Zombie, which seems like the worst thing he could do. You could tick up a Domri. I think that might be the play I would go with here.
Well, this is what you bring Mortars in for. Mortars kills everything except for demons, so if there's a threat on the board that's not a demon, just go ahead and kill it.
Yeah.
If you're not going to play a threat.
And without knowing Vinny's actual list, as he decides to go with the Loxodon Smiter, I'm sure he has some split of those in the main.
Yeah. And advancing your board, obviously, is the right thing to do here. You can use the removal spell once you have more information and whatnot. And you can also just... he missed his land drop for this turn. So next turn he can go Night Elf. No, he didn't miss his land drop.
No.
Next turn he can go Mortars and Chain to the Rocks if Vickers has
So it looks like Vickers is offering up or considering offering up a trade here between Bile-Blight and Immunavolt for that Loxodon Smiter.
Bile-Blight would make it an uneven trade for Vinnie.
Oh, you're exactly right. Yes. So and Vinnie probably wisely, unless Vickers is running a bluff within the first 15 minutes of FNM tonight.
You think you brought in the Notion Thieves?
Vinnie not calling here. So we see.
I'm gonna roll, guys.
All right, bud.
Enjoy it, FNM.
Yep.
Good to see you.
Talk to you later. What is the green-white temple called? Later, bud.
Plenty.
Temple of Plenty. He's got a thinker here whether or not to shove or hold.
It's called Karamitra is God of the Harvests.
I see. I would love to know what that card is, because he is thinking awful hard about it. Is it... What could it be that it would be that... well, we're going to find out, because it stays on top here. Now we're going to see the Domri.
Stormbreath Dragon.
Well, probably he's...
another red source.
Yeah, I was thinking of that, but I mean, Stormbreath Dragon is not real great against Adam. I mean, it's fine, but I mean, Adam's deck is more suited to deal with it than any other. So now it's a choice here. Do we fight on the Lifebane Zombie, or do you tick it up?
That was a Xenagoods, yeah. He doesn't even have some orders if he has the Domri in hand. He can just fight.
Yeah.
But we're going to Bat White. Oh, no, we're going to Devour Flesh.
Yep. So in response to the Domri trigger, Adam's going to cast Devour Flesh targeting
Oh, out target you.
Vinnie. So Vinnie's going to gain 4 life, but unfortunately he's going to lose 2 loyalty off his Domri and his Loxodon Smiter. Adam can get in for 5 here if he so chooses. Looks like that's what's going to happen. Nope. Get in for 3, 2 is going to take care of the Domri, because that's how you play Magic in the correct format.
Yes.
Then leaves 3 mana up still. So Adam has not missed a land drop. So he could be land flooded here. Otherwise his hand is probably super gassed right now. Of course, Adam does know from that Lifebane Zombie, as you said, Garrett, probably unlikely to feed a demon directly into that Chain to the Rocks. And these Lifebane Zombies, not only are they super good against this Naya deck because it hits so many things that are so hard to deal with, but they can't ever block it.
Yeah, it's unblockable.
Yeah, it is a quick clock.
Might as well be shooting nemesis.
No, that's not true at all.
Pretty much the same thing.
It's
actually better because it gets to look at your hand and excess them.
Well, it's zombie tribal, so I mean that's better with Cemetery Reaper in modern.
Right, and you get relief vaults.
Yes. In no way is it as good as such your name, but we're trying to manufacture a scenario in which it is at least not laughable. I can't get my Twitch to work. I don't know if anyone else is having problems, but I'm having a hard time monitoring our own feed, so I apologize if there is for some reason something wrong. Now, Vinnie has drawn that card that he... So there's a Sacred Foundry. He's going to shock himself. So either that was the card he drew, or the other card. I think the Sacred Foundry might have been the card he kept.
There's mortars. Using the right removal spells on the right creatures.
Oh, and then another Domri. So a heck of a turn for Vinnie here as he deals with the clock. Reveals a plays a Domri, reveals a Brimaz off the top. So Adam went from being in pretty much control of this game to now being on the back foot. He's got another Domri to deal with. He can kick it down to 2 here, but looks like Adam's flooding out here as well. So the Domri goes down to 2 and just passes back. I don't know what's in his hand. I'm sure it's a lot of removal spells, but at some point you have to make the decision.
He also hasn't hit a land drop, so it's potentially just more lands. I agree that if he does have a Desecration Demon, he should have played it just to get the Chains of the Rocks out of the way.
Well, I was going to say, at some point you've just got to run it out there because you got to use your mana. So it's going to be an elf. Here's an Elvish Mystic.
Red Rose just played a Epiphany on the Nylea got it. Nylea got it nuts.
Well done. I didn't even see Brett was out there.
Sounded like Brett Rose.
So Vinnie just passing back here, obviously telegraphing Advent of the Worm. Of course, it's hard to telegraph something when you're playing face-up with your cards on the table. So 5 mana for a Naked Gray Merchant here. Just to get... Yeah. I mean, at this point, Vinny's at a low enough life total that it's not irrelevant, you know.
Vickers basically just cast Tendrils of Agony with no storm count.
Yeah, just hard cast Tendrils. Not as good. So Temple of Triumph off the top. Vinny scries that one, leaving it on top. So
Where did the Domino go?
It was Hero's Downfall last turn.
Okay. I was about to say, can't redirect the Gray Merchant life loss.
As the chat has devolved into an argument about which specialty lands, basic lands, are better to play.
Chippies.
So
Blocking and blighting.
Adam being able to play with perfect information here. Box. That's like the 19th time I've mispronounced the word. I'm not going to make it to the top 8. So Adam blocking using Bile Blight to shrink the Advent token, which allows his Gary to live. Giant Spider getting the job done.
Don't call it Gary.
Huh?
Don't call it Gary. Come on, man.
Don't call it Gary. I've always called it Gary.
It's a Gray Merchant of Asphodel.
It has alternate names.
I'm fine with, like, Tim and Bob and whatnot. But that guy's not Gary. Come on.
Alright. So Adam draws yet another land, this time at least a Temple of Deceit. I believe he left that card on top. So he's down to just one card in hand. I do not know what it is, unless it's another swamp, and he's just had the worst draw ever.
He drew about 4 more lands than what he ever wants to draw.
I think what happens here is this is one of those classic draws where Adam's opening hand was great, and then just a full string of those same Urza Sagas, what is Tempest, I think? Swamps come off the top.
There's also a point where you just don't play the lands in case you draw a pack rat. If you want to get up to 6, and then hope the rest of your lands to double activate pack rat.
Mm-hmm.
So for all intents and purposes. Except for that Scryland, Vickers just played one too many. One too many lands this game. If we got a pause, someone's saying about something.
I think Vinny's thinking about what he wants to do here. So he's going to serve in with his Brimaz. That'll trigger and put a cat token into play.
Where do these cats come from?
Well, they're his army. When he decides to go, the other cats are like, crap, we got to get in there too, son. Basically, the cats are Brimaz's bros, and they totally have his back.
Are they like riding on the shoulder though, or?
They're just behind. They're off camera from the art. You can't see it. They're behind.
He's blocking out the Gary.
Yep. So basically, there's no really incentive. Ugh. So I love this play. There's really no incentive for Vinny not to make that play, as he doesn't lose anything. And then in that case, a perfect scenario where one of the few scenarios where his sorcery speed mortars is going to be able to clear out that Mutavault. But you can't really fault Vickers for blocking in that spot. You didn't have to, but it's not necessarily an obvious play that Vinny's got mortars there. Of course, Vinny could chain to the rocks as well, so Adam should have known
Chain
that.
to the rocks would be awfully spicy, since it is a rock. I'm gonna chain this rock to another rock. So here's a scenario we talked about where Vickers has a card in hand that he hasn't been playing, and he has a pack rat that's looking like. Oh, it was a swamp.
Yeah, he just. I'm telling you, he just drew. I don't. And now you get to see it. Earlier, we were discussing this as Adam was offloading a lot of his collection, and one of the tidbits he had found in it was this hologram or this foil Scott Steiner WCW card. It's the Big Papa Pump era Scott Steiner. There is no wrestling headgear or his brother to be seen. So Adam just passing the turn.
Is his brother Rob Steiner?
Rick.
Isn't Rob Steiner like a...
Rob Schneider.
No, I'm thinking like Rob Steiner from like an Archie Bunker TV show.
Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
It's not him either.
Was that,
It was none of
7
them.
degrees of Big Papa Pump.
So Vinnie continues to add the beats here. I'm not sure if there's anything Adam can do to get out of this. So Vinnie's going to go ahead and force the issue here. Monstrosity Plukernos for 1.
Excuse me.
That pack rat still dies, right?
Looks like we're still just resolving the ability.
Still gets 5 damage, right? There's nothing that Adam can draw to get out of this, right?
What, fought it?
Plukernos.
For how much?
Well, it's only 1, but it does its power's worth of damage to something.
No, it deals X damage.
Really?
Yeah. And then those creatures deal damage back to Lucrenus. So if X was just 1, if Lucrenus just has 1 counter on it, then
You're exactly right.
the pack rat lives. Now if this other pack rat dies, then that first one's obviously going to die too because it has 1 damage marked on it.
Mm-hmm.
Lucrenus is a tricky card. Probably the trickiest monstrosity card.
Because it's the one that's most often played.
And it's just a very... Look how big that text box is.
It has a lot. It's also difficult because the monstrosity has 2 triggers.
And multiple targets.
Yes.
It's like Fireball. Like Fireball is a very confusing card.
Yes, that's why they haven't printed it since 4th edition.
They printed it in 12. I played with it in 12.
Oh, they did, didn't they? Goodness sakes. Yeah, that's an awful magic card.
Fireball is the magic card that has X and Y in it.
Didn't they just simplify it and reprint
Yes.
X?
Yes, just X. And then each additional target costs X.
But it's just a design failure that you have a card that has X and that potential to have X and Y in it to begin with.
Yes. Here comes the boys. Let's hear for them.
So serving in with 2 Mystics, the
Let's hear from
Brimaz, 2 Mystics, a Brimaz, and the 2 cat tokens. Scott Steiner's going to block a cat. And Adam Vickers himself is going to block the other cat, and we're going to Hero's Downfall on the Pelucranos. So this is actually not that bad of a situation for Adam. He's going to take 15 here and be facing down just 2 Elvish Mystics and the Brimaz with 2 active pack rats here. So the worst case scenario is Vinnie mortars here, but he would have done that already. There's a Loxodon Smiter, so another 4 toughness, another creature that doesn't die to Bile Blight is the key here. Adam just passes back, so we know the card he drew was not a Desecration Demon or a Underworld Connect. Well, if Underworld Connections, he would cast it. He wouldn't cast it. Not a lot of outs left in Adam's deck here. The Brimaz by itself, you almost have to double block at this point on the Brimaz, because the extra the card advantage from Brimaz is going to kill you eventually. Hey, it's so cold. I'm right under the stupid vent. That's the problem. It's like a meat market.
Just trying to...
Double block the Vermont. There it is.
What are the 2 tap creatures up top? Are those worms?
Those are Elvish Mystics.
He's taking 6 this turn.
Yep. So Adam's going to lose a pack rat, but he does deal with Brimaz. And he's going to replace it. Oh my goodness. Vinnie's draw is unbeatable.
Grey Merchant.
So the Grey Merchant will help. Not only will it put another body into play, but it will gain him 4 life. So it will help him from being dead on board. So both players hellbent here.
And this turn, Vickers can eat all of the non-big creatures. Or if he wants to throw away a Grey Merchant, he can throw away the Grey Merchant in front of the Electron Smiter.
I think
But he can eat the 2 Elvish Mystics and the cat token that comes in and then just deal with those the following turns.
he'd go down to 1 in that case. But then he can make 3/3 rats the next turn. If he draws another Grey Merchant.
Yeah, that would buy him the turn that he needs, because then the next turn he can double block the Brimaz and throw the Grey Merchant in front of the Electron Spider.
Well,
We see him coming up with his own idea.
so this way is the same thing. It's just you only take.
Yeah, you're taking 5 instead of taking 8 or taking 7. But your Grey Merchant survives though.
Yeah, the Grey Merchant is a wall effectively against Brimaz, and Vinnie draws a blank off the top, or at least a card that's not. He doesn't feel like casting. He runs so good. Vinnie making the mistake that we often see where he's using all of his run good in round 1 of tonight's tournament, so he's not going to have any good luck
He
left.
just needs to draw the Ajani here.
Or the Goreplane Rampager, or the Stormbreath Dragon. Good grief, Vinnie.
He got the Stormbreath.
I've been doing this. We started in August of 2012, and this is really like over 18 months we've been doing this. That is the sickest 5 draws off the top of the deck that I've seen in that time.